what are we talking about when we say putting business logic in your database?
So it means putting a lot of decisions that basically is the underpinnings of how your application works in the database. Now, for example, I think of this as a continuum. And let's say I know an application, a web based application 20 years ago, written in ASP. And no, it wasn't even called that. No, it was Active Server Pages,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft's Active Server Pages. This was pre.NET. So this
Yeah.
is before .NET. There was Active Server Pages. And this was a um, developed software program that whom I used to work for purchased. And how it worked was it had, it wasn't PHP, well, no, it was Active Server Pages, and they would call stored procedures in the database. So they never made any select, insert, update calls. A lot of logic with regard to what tables get updated and how things were handled were done at a layer above the raw tables. So in other words, whenever a page was rendered, it would call an a stored procedure in the database. Whenever it needed to insert data, it would call a stored procedure to do that insert. And that may update multiple tables or do different things. So this is what you could think of a method in a Ruby program may do. So they put a lot of business logic in the database.
Yeah.
Now, let's say when Ruby on Rails got started, they just treated the database as just this dumb thing where you just throw your data into it and then you pull your data out of it. And they wanted no business logic at all in there because, I just need it as a data store.
Yeah.
So I think those are kind of the continuums. A lot of business logic in the database but don't put any business logic in a database. It's just a dumb hash store or whatever.
Right.
So and people are going to be on a continuum between that. And I think that's pretty much what people agree to today. There's some sort of continuum. And where I tend to land on it is it's important to put business logic things related to data relationships in the database. I don't want to put all my other business logic in the database because that's just too hard to work through. And I'll get into some more details here. So I thought of this presentation about, okay, what are some of the different objects and how you can use them to essentially store business logic. So I was just going to kind of march through and discuss those. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about before I jump into that?
No, I don't think so. I think you're kind of hitting it on the head there where, because when I started, think about databases, it's just a data store. It doesn't do anything except hold pieces of data. But then, I have seen some things where there's just tremendous amounts of logic built into the database, and it's doing so much that it, in my opinion, is too much because it gets hard to troubleshoot. It gets hard to trace things, and you've got no code on your platform to kind of figure out what's going on.
More importantly, you have less tools to figure it out and diagnose what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. There's kind of a sweet spot between those two things where you get the benefits of the speed and the database doing databasey things on the database server rather than talking back and forth and wasting that time. But you also get the benefits of maintainability, having code, and that the database isn't too smart.
Yeah, and I think it's also team-based. So different teams will choose where their sweet spot is, I think.
Yeah.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.